Hey guys, my name is Xavier, and I'm here today to give you my review of Mortal Shell. Mortal Shell is the latest addition to the Souls-like genre, so obviously I was interested in giving it a shot, especially when the price tag is only $30. I tend to really enjoy the games that come out in this category in the first place, and especially with releases like Remnant of the Ashes 2 DLCs and Neo 2 earlier this year. I feel like the game fills a nice gap between that and something like the Demon Souls release that will hopefully come as a PS5 launch title in late November. So my first encounter with Mortal Shell was when I had a chance to play the beta a few weeks ago and get a general feel for the production quality of the game. And I thought visually and mechanically it was really good. And I am excited to say that that held up into the actual full release as well. It wasn't buggier, there weren't any issues, at least that I've experienced, that led me to believe that the beta experience was better than the full game. So as for the full game's release, the quality of the visuals and the mechanics weren't only just as good as the beta, but they were expanded upon pretty well. Whether we're talking about the differences in overall gameplay between the four shells themselves, or the parry mechanic, which now offers different options for the empowered riposte outside of just the self-heal mechanic we saw in the beta. They also added 2 additional weapons, that way there's 1 signature weapon per shell, and I'm sure the addition of these 2 weapons pleased a much larger crowd because these are your typical slower swinging, harder hitting weapons. Although personally, I'm still a fan of the hammer and chisel option we saw in the beta, which is that quick hitting, dodging in and out, lower damage, but a lot of hits style of gameplay. Even though ironically, I found myself leaning toward the slower, low stamina, high health shell in the later game because of the tankiness and the damage potential. Generally, I was quite pleased with my playthrough. The only issue I ever had with the game was I feel like it lacks some structure in the early narrative that could have easily been fixed. The fact is that you can completely miss the entire thrust or call to action of the game's storyline, as well as a key gameplay component, by just wandering around and exploring off the beaten path for a little while, which a lot of players do in games like this. And while I do like the gameplay model of just throwing you in and doing whatever you want, I feel like it's important to have the answer to the question, why am I doing this? And in my personal experience, I didn't get an answer to that question until about 2 hours into the game. Whereas I could have gotten it no more than 30 minutes into the game, if you take the time to beat the tutorial boss. So for me, the game would flow a little bit better if in the beginning area you were quartered off from the rest of the game until you spoke to all essential NPCs and therefore had all of the essential information you would need for your journey, as well as a key component of the game called the Tarnished Seal. The Tarnished Seal is an item that allows you to parry attacks, but also serves as an indicator on the back of the player that makes a noise and flashes brightly when there's an incoming unparryable attack. Speaking from experience, I didn't have this item until a little over 2 hours into the game, and having it does open up a new variety of gameplay options outside of just having general situational awareness in both regular enemy encounters and boss fights. The reason why I didn't acquire this until 2 hour plus into the game is because I chose to not interact with an NPC, thinking that interacting with that NPC prompted a boss fight that looked pretty difficult in the early stages of the game. Not wanting to get into that fight under-geared and under-leveled, I chose to refer back to it later when I had a better sense of things. I will say, after interacting with that NPC, the game made more sense as to why you were doing what you were doing, and you had a set goal and a plan and a story, whereas previously there wasn't any, and you were just this person in an open space getting little crumbs of background history from the interactable NPC Ganessa which you do all of your shell upgrades with. All in all, I thought it was a great game. That is genuinely my only complaint. But at the end of the day, it's on the developer to make the sacrifice of structured narrative as opposed to giving the player outright freedom to do what they choose and when they choose. So I honestly can't be mad at it. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the playthrough. I am thinking about doing a speed run through the game now that I know what I know, having gone through the first playthrough. So if you're interested in seeing that, please let me know in the comments down below. And thank you all for watching. With that being said, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you're having a great day wherever you are.